Hey everyone, welcome to Mama Genius Festival podcast today. You can tell it's Friday. We're all happy it's Friday, but you know what? It's the end of the week, and I brought Jesseca on here because we're going to talk about what we need to do. We had self-care yesterday. We're doing more self-care today because it is that time of year, January, when we're putting all these goals out and things, but then we might get mad at ourselves because we might not have done those things. So how do we take care of ourselves? Jessica's going to help us with that. We'll be into that in just a moment. Welcome to Mama Genius Hub podcast, where we support moms with big dreams, from entrepreneurship to personal aspirations. I'm your host, Jesseca Tighe, and I'm here to help you unlock your potential in all areas of life. Join us as we explore strategies for thriving in motherhood while pursuing the dreams, the key to actually unlocking your genius. Subscribe now and embark on a journey to realize your fullest potential. And I have Jesseca Tighe coming up the stage in just a moment with over 20 years of experience in healthcare and a Ph.D. in psychology. Dr. Jesseca is dedicated to helping healthcare leaders excel without compromising their health and well-being. She specializes in guiding professionals to elevate their leadership, build cohesive teams, manage trust with common sense strategies, and maintain a healthy work-life balance. Dr. Tighe believes in personal health and professional success should go hand in hand, and she's passionate about helping foster that environment where both can thrive simultaneously. And of course, to boot, she's a mom, so we're going to talk all about that too. Welcome, Jesseca.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
I'm so glad we got to connect really quickly and fastly to do this, but you know, I think that's how things happen, right?
That's right. That's how it works sometimes.
And we were just talking about the mom life of having to get things on the table and all those things. And it right now, as we're recording live, it is a Friday, you know, the end of the week. And sometimes we're looking forward to those weekends and everything, but then it's like, oh, what just happened? Like the stress and everything from the week. And so before we get into all of that, just tell us a little about yourself and your why behind why you want to do this.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Well,
how I got here is not a linear road. But my why, it in a nutshell, is just I love to help people. I've always loved psychology and human behavior. That's why I studied it for up to 10 years. And I had a mental health background, worked in mental health for many years, and then went into healthcare for 13 years, into senior living and other healthcare environments, and then wanted to work with people again, really missed that. And so a year ago, I started my own business, and now I'm a executive and life coach. And I help mostly healthcare professionals to decrease burnout, manage their stress, love their careers again. So it's mostly who I work with, is basically the people who, worked with me when I was in healthcare. And then I also have a small part of my practice that I still work with, mental health, also stress and burnout. I work with moms. I work with people that are caring for loved ones at home or people with disabilities, and also treat childhood disorders resulting from a parent that had a mental illness. So that's what I do. And yeah, my why is that I definitely want to help people. But I saw when I was working in healthcare that they really needed some tools and tricks to help with burnout and stress management. I know I did, and I developed a system that worked for me, and built cohesive teams. And now that's what I do full time, and that's what I teach other people, because we can't afford to lose anybody in healthcare. There's shortages everywhere. We can't afford to lose anyone, and there's a way to love your career again. So
I love that so much. And the word that just kept popping in my head was caregiver. Because I feel like with the healthcare professional, like it's such a caregiver with moms, like we're always putting someone else first before our own needs. And that word just was literally like highlighted in my head, like caregiver, and just goes across the board for those that are just so willing to give. And so I know you're going to have some great tips that are going to go across the board here, because that nurturer inside of us, that nurturer as a healthcare provider, that nurturer as a mom, like how do we balance and make that rhythm go between those ideas? And really, and yesterday, the key was put the oxygen mask on first, which we know is, can be so much of a cliche, or just we hear it so much that like, it's just, oh, those are just words now. But really, how do we do that?
Yeah, it's really difficult. We have what I think of, burnout and stress management. I think of the external pressures, which we can't, really do anything about, or we only have so much control over, right? Like we're moms and we've got to drive everybody around and get to soccer practice. And oh my gosh, I fed them today? Like, it's
Right. What?
wait, what do I have food in the fridge? There's all these external pressures, but then also there's these internal pressures too, because we want to do a good job. We want to be good moms. We want to nurture and provide and have all of those things. And those internal pressures coupled with the external pressures are what lead to burnout and stress. And I think that's really my message is there's a way to balance the two, and there's a way that you can be less stressed out in your day and find those moments of joy, and really get some time back in your day, so that at the end of the day you have something left to give. You have the opportunity to participate in hobbies. What a concept. Or friends
What's that?
and family. Yeah, there's a way to make some, not just time for those things, but when I'm coaching clients, it's mostly about their energy levels and getting those balanced so that they can really rest and recharge in the way that works for them, because it's usually not what they think. And
Can you
then
give us an example of that? Because you've got me so curious.
yeah. Yeah. So, I'll give you an example. I had a client that I just started working with about a month ago, and she's great. She's just super energetic, like really digging in and doing the work. She's not lazy. She's a hustler, and she's a mom and a nurse. And she came to me, and our first session, she's like, well, I was Googling all of these things. I'm really burnt out. I'm really stressed out. And, Dr. Google said, I need to eat right and I need to exercise. If you look at burnout and stress management online, you'll see all these articles and all of this conventional advice, which is the things that we should already be doing. But she took it to the extreme, and she's like, so I've never run before in my life, but I've been running for 30 minutes every day, and now I'm transitioning into being a vegan because I know I need to eat right. And I'm like, stop. Like, you're putting stress on an already stressed system. So, you don't need to do that. Like if running's your thing, and that's your thing, and that's how you get your endorphins and your dopamine, great. Please keep doing that. I'm not saying stop. Like if being a vegan's your thing, like that's fine. I'm not telling you to stop, but you don't need to make these huge life changes on an already stressed system. What you need to do is much smaller. So, we worked on a lot of breathing exercises. We worked on the fact that she really could find some time to do some self-care. She was watching Netflix and playing on her phone at night. Yeah, at the same time, I know a lot of us do it. I do it too sometimes. But that's really not letting your brain and your body rest. It's still super stimulating. So it's really finding those ways to really rest and let your brain and your body actually recover, so that you can get up and you have more energy for the next day. So
We'll get into some of those techniques in just a moment. We'll be right back.
yes.
Attention mompreneurs. Do you feel like you're constantly juggling the responsibilities without a moment to yourself? It's time to pause and reflect with our Mama Genius quiz. Tailored for busy mamas like you, this quiz will help you identify what's blocking your path and inspire you to harness your unique strengths. Transform how you manage life and business, find your rhythm, and ignite your joy. Visit mamageniushub.com today to discover your Mama Genius. And that's mamageniushub.com. And we're back. I really wanted to, I love how you put that she was doing too much. And sometimes we think watching the TV, the glass of wine or whatever that is actually rest and relaxation. Mm-hmm. So what are some of those suggestions you have and I know everyone's different. So like my whole philosophy is kind of like, here's a list, but start to hone in into your intuition to, as Jessica's saying some of these ideas, what actually speaks to your heart, what like just all of a sudden tugs at you and you're like, I can do that one. And so that's my philosophy. So I don't know if that's yours, but I'd love for you to take that question.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are things that I do with every client, which I'll go over with today, but yeah, it can be very personalized too. You know, we really want to make sure that we're getting personal with people and seeing what works for them. But two of the best things that I do with every single client is one is a dopamine detox. And you can Google it. There's great YouTube videos, but in a nutshell, a dopamine detox is letting your brain be bored. It's cutting off all the noise. So turning your cell phone off, turning the TV off, not eating rich foods. It's reading, journaling, like letting yourself be bored. I like to do it for a full 24 hours, at least a couple times a month. And then for 1 to 2 hours a day, just letting myself be bored. And I've done this with clients and it's really, really helped. It's not the doom scrolling while you're watching Netflix. That's still super stimulating to your brain and your body, and you're actually not getting rest. So I think the dopamine detox is a great practice in order to start. And then the second thing that I like to do with clients is a journaling practice. And I don't mean people need to sit down for 30 minutes a day. I don't journal every day, but I do journal when I can't stop the carousel of ruminating thoughts and those intrusive thoughts, or the, oh my gosh, I have 14 things to do, and I write them all down and just get everything out of my head, because human beings are actually not great at processing inside our heads.
Really?
We are not. No, it's those mental gymnastics that we think that we're processing, but we're really not. We need to actually get it down on paper so that you can actually process your thoughts and your emotions around those thoughts, and realize that sometimes thoughts are not facts, that you can actually look and see where your hangups are and where you need to change and where you want to go. More importantly, coaching is all about the future. It's not about the past. It's about going where you want to go and how do you want to feel, and processing those things. So I would say those are the two most important things that I do with every single client. And I do that myself too. I'm walking the walk.
I love that too, because I always say that because it's the same thing with when you're looking at what your kids do. Like, your kids are watching you. They don't really care what you say. They care what they see you doing. And actually, I was just talking to a friend with this right before. It's like, I feel like I've been in this mode where I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling well, right? And I'll go lay down at night or something. And all of a sudden I see my son doing that as well. All of a sudden I'm like, I'm seeing all my bad habits mimicked on the other end. And I think that's the truth, is the more that we start doing the things that are helpful to us. I love how you said the dopamine. So reading is considered non-stimulus, and I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, I would do like fiction. I do like I read books that I've already read is what I do during the dopamine detox, so that it's not super stimulating, because the point is to, make yourself bored. So I read those, but you're not shopping online, you're putting down the phone, you're not on the computer, you're not on the TV, you're not ordering takeout. Like, you're just letting yourself be bored. Those are the days when I, go out in my garden and, things like that. And you end up at being able to do a lot of things that were on your to-do list that you normally wouldn't do because you're sitting there, scrolling Facebook or whatever. But I want your listeners to take away that, that's not rest. And if the point is rest, well, that's not rest. So do something that is.
The word came to me. How would you define the word rest? I know sometimes we need a definition. What would be your definition of that word?
Yeah, I use the word recovery a lot. So rest and recovery. I think about it in terms of like an athlete. So, and listen, moms are athletes. Let's just be honest.
Right there, I think we should just stop and honor all of the athletes listening right now, because it's so true.
So true.
So much.
So true. And the marathon never ends. And so I just want to honor that. I get it. I'm in the race too. But we're all athletes, and when you speak to athletes, I watched the Olympics this summer, which was great, but they talked about how important the rest and recovery was to their performance. And it's so true. And I'm using this with my clients now. You really need to figure out what helps you actually rest and recover so that you can have the energy to go out and do the things that you need to do, so that you have the energy, to, figure out what meal you're going to make tonight for your 3 kids or whatever it is, so that you have that energy. So it's more about recovery and recovering that energy and bringing that energy back into yourself so that you do have the energy to do other things that you want to do or need to do. Because that's what we're all facing, is it's like, I have 20 more things I have to do today, but I'm maxed out, and I'm maxed out every day, and I can't do it. And that's when people call me.
And let's be honest, when we're maxed out, our kids are going to be the first person to bear the brunt of that.
Absolutely.
And it's just, we're humans. It's okay. But that's why I want to throw that out right now, just because I see that for myself when I'm maxed out. And so it's just kind of putting those reminders in here of figuring out what rest and recovery mean for you as well. And then being able to create that for yourself so that you know your go-tos, to know to make that decision. Because I'll be honest, like, it's really hard when you're in that state of like that, lately I've been a binge watcher. And when you get into like I've even said, like, sometimes for me it's like binge watching is like a drug. And it really is, because like all of a sudden you're like, you're like out of energy, you're out of it. And it's not that it's bad all the time, but when it's becoming too bad of a habit or something, and I love how you said the detox of dopamine, because it's definitely not doing that. It's almost like that when you see your kids playing too many video games, it's almost that same effect.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah, you can see it. Like, they look like they're in a trance, and like, hey, look, I play video games too. I binge watch too. It's not like I'm not doing these things and that I'm perfect. That's definitely not what I'm saying. I live in this world.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but there's a way to balance it out. So there are these practices that I've found and that my clients have found, that you can really rest and recharge and just have more of that energy that we all want. We all want to have more energy. We all want to balance the energy that we're channeling into our jobs and motherhood, and then have something left for us at the end of the day that's not, falling asleep with the cell phone, like hitting our face with Facebook
Literally.
open. Like, I don't know if you can relate to that, but I can.
Just a little, or your arm hurts because of that position in bed of like holding your phone.
Yeah. And there's like a half drunk glass of wine on this nightstand, and I'm like, oh gosh, how long have I been asleep?
And it's not even good sleep. It's like half asleep, and you're just kind of like out of bed. I love how you kind of said, like, a lot of times speaking to moms, the two things I always hear is I'm busy and I'm tired.
Yeah, exactly.
And those are the two things that are coming out of the mouth. And so then looking at what can we do about it. And I love just taking that hour of detox every day.
And I do that pretty religiously, and it definitely works. And it's different, your routine's different every day. That's a thing with a lot of moms too. I think it's okay to not have a set routine. That's another thing that I hear from people, is that they'll, talk with friends or they'll read articles about having a routine for the day. And I'm like, what's that? Because soccer practice is tomorrow, but so-and-so's piano is tomorrow. Like, our routines are constantly changing. And so it's really difficult for us to manage that. And routine can be very, very comforting to us as humans, but moms don't get that luxury a lot of the time. And so you have to be okay with being out of that routine and finding those moments to do these practices, even though it might not be at the same time every day. So I want to say that too, because I think that's
I love that you said that, because it sometimes feels like this pressure. Like, I need my hour routine in the morning that's going to set me up for my day. And then if I don't do that, all of a sudden my day is ruined for the day. And there's no way to get that back.
Right.
And then the same thing as well at night. Like, we have this society thing, like, oh, you have to do these things to be a productive person, or to like make sure you get the self-care and all of that. I've been hearing that a lot more and more.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing that I like to say, don't judge your insides by other people's outsides. So
I love that.
don't do that, because you never know what's going on in somebody's life. You never know whether that, Facebook post is actually what's going on, until you talk to somebody. So don't judge your insides by other people's outsides, because we're all, most of the time, we're all struggling. We've all got stuff going on. We might be doing well one day, we might not be doing well the next day. So it's, important to just acknowledge that.
Oh, I love that so much. I mean, just since we're talking a little bit about routines and just that idea of like what, so I know that you said you do this an hour a day. So just tell us, walk us through what it would look like for you then, so that people can get a realistic idea.
Yeah. So I have one of the best things I did is I started buying 90-day planners instead of year-long planners. So I break my life down into 90 days at a time. And that really helped for me. And the 90-day planners that I get have a gratitude part at the end of the day. They have a journaling prompt. They have a habit tracker. So whatever habits I'm working on at that time, I can track them, but just for that 90 days. And then if I want to switch it up, well, there's a new planner coming from Amazon. So I'll just do something different, whatever I'm working on. That's what I'm doing. So it's my journal, it's my planner, it's my, and I mean, I have an online planner too for appointments, like, like this, like a podcast. Yeah. I'm recording a podcast today. Of course that's online, but the basic stuff, like here's practice, and here's my habits, and here's my gratitude list for the day, and here's my focus for the week. And that's really helped me. So I usually spend just a few minutes in the morning when I'm like groggy and still waking up and the coffee is still brewing. And I just kind of write some stuff, down from like, all right, here's what I need to do today. Here's what I'm anxious about. And then also at the end of the day, after, the kid's gone to bed, and I just take a couple minutes to write, just a bullet point, like a few gratitude things, and then write my stuff for the next day so that I'm ready to go, so that I'm not waking up in the middle of the night with a list of things that are bugging me, which that happens too. Yeah. I also keep a data dump journal right by my bed, so that if I do wake up in the middle of the night, I write it down, like, okay, this is what's in my head right now, and then just put it away so I can go back to sleep. And that helps.
Okay, we got to back up then. How many journals do you have, and where do you place them?
Yeah, so I have a 3-journal system. So what I do is I have a positive and gratitude journal that's separate from the daily tracker if I want to write more. I have a negative journal where I just let it rip, where I'm like, you dirty so-and-so, or you looked at me wrong in the checkout line, or whatever I'm mad about.
You cut me off.
You cut me off. I mean, no, that's, yeah. I'm in Colorado traffic, so that happens all the time. And then I also have the data dump journal. So that's all right, this is ruminating in my head, and I've just got to get it down on paper. It's my grocery list for tomorrow, or whatever. I'm waking up at 2 a.m. and I'm thinking that I need to solve that problem. That's the data dump journal. And I have probably about 20 journals all over my house, because I know myself, and I'm not going to walk all the way upstairs to get my journal, because I have them downstairs, like kind of in my little reading chair. I have them in my office upstairs. I have them by my bed. I have them in my husband's office. Like, he doesn't have an office. He has a there you go. Yeah, I have all of these journals.
And this is my podcast note journal.
There you go. Yeah, and I buy little. I don't have one around me right now, but I buy like the little pocket journals that you can get, and I keep them in my purse in case, something happens, or, I have a break in the day and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna, write some stuff down about, what I'm processing right now. So I have them everywhere, because I know that I'm not gonna, even, as good as I am with self-care, I'm not going to walk all the way upstairs and go get a journal, or, like, we're busy. Like, I want it to be right there, and I need it to be easy. There needs to be a low barrier to doing these practices, I think.
Low barrier. I love it. And we'll be back right after this.
Do you ever feel like your own dreams are fading on you as you focus and keep everything together for your family, or been buried under laundry and school runs and endless to-do lists? They're so deep, you don't even know what they are anymore. The Mama Genius Hub is here to help you uncover that part of you again. Maybe you felt that pull to start a passion project, return to a hobby you once loved, or pursue a career that lights you up, but you're so caught in everyone else's needs that you keep slipping through the cracks. In just 15 minutes a day, our mini courses will help you reconnect with those dreams while finding a new rhythm in motherhood's beautiful, messy life. And best of all, you'll be doing it with a community of moms who truly understand the juggle and the joy. The Mama Genius Hub is a community who've been there and are here to support and inspire each other every step of the way. It's time to rediscover your spark, live in your genius, and inspire your kids by showing them how to follow their own passions. Join the Mama Genius Hub today and start creating space for you again without guilt for doing it solo.
Come to www.connectingmamas.com for more details.
And we're back. So we're going to go into our final questions. Fortunately, we're running out of time, darn it. But what do you think is one of the key elements that holds moms back from really, society or whatever it is that moms have in their heads? It keeps them really from truly stepping into their genius.
Yeah, I think it's, and this has been said before by other people, but I think it's, especially if you have, a job, you're supposed to have a job as if you don't have children, and you're supposed to have children like you don't have a job. Mm-hmm. And that is where that internal pressure and external pressure that I've been talking about, that's where they meet. And that's where we need to fight that misconception, because it's okay to do them both. And, I might be only 60% today. Like, you'll get all 60 of me, but like, it's only 60%. So don't expect an iota more. That's okay. It's okay to show up and show up in a real authentic way, and show up also in a way where we're putting ourselves first. We're putting our self-care first. It's okay to take time for yourself. Nobody's like being a hero by just burning yourself out and being exhausted and then, waving your kids off because you're scrolling through Facebook. Like that's not the way to live. There's a different way of going about life.
Oh, I love that so much. So Jesseca, tell everyone how they can get a hold of you. And I believe you have free gifts for the audience as well.
I do. Yeah. You can get my free guide. It's Free Yourself from Career Burnout. And my website is Solutions for Health. So it's SOUL, Lutions, FOR, Health. And they can contact me on my website. You can book a free session on there. I'm also on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, so you can find me there.
And we'll bring you back in just a moment after we give our 5 takeaways for today. We've got a lot going on here. Wasn't that amazing? I mean, I love the first takeaway. If we just look at that internal and external that she was just talking about, those stresses of what is going on. So the external pressures of things that we can't really control, but then we also have those internal pressures that we put on ourselves to do a good job that can also lead to burnout. But if we're going to put them together, that's what's going to help us find that balance and kind of lead us to joy. But it really leads us to that idea of what is our energy level. And so she leads in takeaway 2 and 3, because she gives us 2 ways to really help get that energy level coming back, which is first, takeaway number 2 is that dopamine detox. So actually, when our kids are saying they're bored, it's probably a good thing. We should tell ourselves to be bored as well. Removing all the noise, the rich foods, all those things. I don't know about you, but sometimes I just stress eat and I eat those rich foods and things just because you might be bored, right? So really taking that time just to sit with yourself, reading, journaling, doing those things, which leads into takeaway number 3 is really having that journaling practice to really get those thoughts out of your head, to stop the carousel from going around and kind of ruminate all those thoughts that are ruminating in your head, because we keep thinking that we're processing them in our heads, but it's really hard to see them objectively unless they're in front of us. As I always say, there's 2 ways to get them out of your head. One is to get them on paper, or 2, to say them out loud to someone else. And sometimes we're not ready to say it to someone else. So you can always get it on that paper. That leads us into takeaway number 4, which is that concept of rest and recovery. Like, what does that mean for you? How are you actually going to get that? Because that is what's going to restore your energy. And I love how she said, don't judge your insides by someone else's outsides. And we do that all the time when we're Facebook scrolling, right? We're always making those comparisons. But it's really about how do we bring that energy back to us? And part of that could be that detox, or whatever you need to really rest and recover. Which then takes away takeaway number 5 is some of those low barrier practicing. So as I read some of these things that she was saying that she does, if one of these sounds good to you, like for instance, we can say journaling and you've never journaled before, but maybe it's just a matter of one thing in the morning of what's one thing you're grateful for, right? It's really about starting those small steps, those habit stackings of what you can do. And really, I love how she talks about the things that she writes in the morning, but at the end, also the end of the day, writing your bullet points, but also getting yourself set up for the next day, right? Remember, I always say also to do your to-done list at the end of the day, because the things that you've done, because we never as moms give ourselves enough credit. Once you start listing the things you've done the day, you're like, wait, I got all that done today. And you start to train your brain. Yes, I did more than I thought I did. And so we can have those journals in different spots too. Think about that. Try to make this as much of a low barrier for yourself just to keep doing it as you move forward. We can have positive gratitude journal. We can also have a journal for getting those negative thoughts out of our head. And I love how she has that data journal right by her bed as well to get all those thoughts that, they do happen in the middle of the night, especially as moms. Oh, I need to get that to release it from your brain so you can get back to sleep. Let's bring Jesseca back for her final takeaway.
All right, thanks. No notes. You did great.
No notes.
No notes. It's great. No, I liked how you said you doing the to-done list, and I like that too, because actually that's an authentic dopamine hit when you write something down and then you cross it off your list. That's a way to get that good dopamine instead of that super stimuli, like watching Netflix and playing Wordle. Not that I ever do that.
I might play it every day, but
Yeah.
Well, the one thing with the to-done list is I want to clarify a little bit that it's not the to-do list and it's not crossing it off. It's
right.
Just simply from like moving to things that you've done to a new list, and then your next to-do list can go to tomorrow's list or whatever. But just solely saying these are things that I did today, because you know what, moms, I know you're doing more than you think you're doing. Jesseca knows that too.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. Thanks. I love that.
And on that note, we are out of time for today. Thank you so much, Jesseca, for joining us today. And thank you for giving us those Let's Be Bored Together.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us in today's episode of the Mama Genius Hub podcast. If you found value in our conversation, please share this episode with another mama who might benefit. Sharing helps us build a supportive community and reach out to more mamas like you. After all, it's more fun when we do motherhood together. Until next time, stay motivated and continue to pursue your dreams as you shine in your genius.